Welcome back once again for more All or Not According to Jack with your host, Jack Toledano. So, as you can see, there is a ring behind me, having just completed what I thought was a good episode of talking exclusively about superstar Billy Graham. On this episode, I'm going to kind of open it up to more wrestling content. Just some wrestling thoughts that I put together while I was watching Raw last, was it? Yeah, Raw Monday night, and started to watch AEW tonight, AEW Dynamite tonight. So, first, let's start. Before we talk about anything, I just hope everybody's staying safe with this wildfire that's basically blanketing the East Coast. Canadian wildfires. Those of you who were friends with me on Facebook may have seen that I took a picture of my neighborhood with a Mr. Softy truck going by. It kind of reminds me of this episode of Monty Python's Flying Circus, where there was some bombings that took place, and then they realized they bombed the wrong area, so they sent an ice cream truck out with a loudspeaker. Oh, sorry, folks, we didn't mean to bomb this area. Sorry, we didn't mean to. Meanwhile, the whole fucking city's leveled. That's kind of what, and then the pictures that I saw of Manhattan today, uh, you know, the freaking sky was orange. So my job, I basically sit on my couch and work from my couch, and I have the bay window that I look out every day, and all I saw was orange. That was really freaky. And then I stepped outside at about 2 o'clock just for a minute. Let me tell you, I had to go back inside. It was bad. I'm usually not that afraid of stuff like that, but to smell fires from Canada drifted all the way down to freaking Long Island and the New York tri-state area. Uh, Hopefully, they're saying that it's supposed to dissipate overnight. I pray that it does, because this shit's scary. So, it's everywhere from New York down to, say, Virginia. So stay safe, everybody. So anyway, my content for today. Uh, First thing I would like to do is I would like to acknowledge this person right here, the Iron Sheik. We lost the Iron Sheik today, so rest in peace, Iron Sheik. Uh, I know, he was a Iranian defector who came to the United States to escape a an oppressive regime. Uh, Thankfully, you got out, had a good life here in America, uh, started to wrestle in the AWA territory. Then they decided to kind of advance it as a way of advancing his career. They turned him heel. They started to have him do this Iranian Sheik character, wearing that garb that you see. Probably one of the better pictures that I found. His first stint in the WWE, he was called Hossein Arab. His gimmicks were that he had this big Persian clubs that he'd swing over his head, and he was the only one who can do it. So then the second time he came back was about the time they decided that, well, Vince Jr. had bought the WWE from his father, and he decided he wanted to turn it into a bigger territory. He wanted to basically swallow up all the territories. Sorry, drink break. So the first thing he needed to do was take the belt off of Bob Backlund. Bob was all-American boy, good champion, great wrestler, but you could see the crowd was starting to get bored of him after, 5, 6 years. I was actually at matches at Nassau Coliseum where he was the main event, and I would hear people chanting, "It's howdy doody time," with signs and everything. So his act was starting to wear thin. No sooner did I know that, but the time I saw him face Jimmy Snuka at Nassau Coliseum, and he pinned Snuka with Snuka's feet on the ropes, and let me tell you, he left the ring to head back to the dressing room to a huge chorus of boos. People really were turning on Backlund. So Vince wisely took the belt off of him. He had so the way he did it was he had the Iron Sheik uh, entice him to try to use the Persian club. So then he attacked Backlund, injured him, and the story was that in their match at Madison Square Garden, uh, Backlund was wrestling injured. So Iron Sheik got him in his patented what is it called? Not the Boston Crab. Oh boy, his famous move. Uh, er, Gotta find out what it is. Oh, I'm back. Don't you just love live recordings where you're just chatting away and then you forget a very important detail, so you got to go look it up. Fortunately, as soon as I hit the pause button, I remembered. So Iron Sheik's famous move was what they call the camel clutch. So he sits on an opponent's back, puts his arms over his legs, puts his arms over his under his chin and pulls back, and Backlund, as a true face, wasn't going to submit. So his manager Arnold Skolin threw the towel in. So that's how Iron Sheik won the match cleanly, supposedly. So Sheik had the belt for a month. Then they gave it to. Then they had Hulk Hogan beat him. Uh, you know, Calculated risk by Vince McMahon Jr. to bring in Hogan as his champion, but I got to admit, in my other video, it's saying how he was patterned his whole shtick and his whole style after superstar Billy Graham, but it worked. He charmed millions upon millions of people. He, his in-ring work sucked, but you know what? He was a good charmer to the crowd. With his but obviously he wasn't as good of a worker or a wrestler as Iron Sheik was. Might have been nice to see Iron Sheik, you know, be a champion longer, but I did get to see. So then there was this famous feud with Sergeant Slaughter, which sold a shitload of tickets. I actually saw them. Well, before their famous culmination of their feud, where they fought at Madison Square Garden in what they called a boot camp match, which is basically just another name for a Texas death match, where Sergeant Slaughter, very grueling match, but he finally beat him when he used his uh, not so Stan Hansen calls it the lariat, his a clothesline. Sergeant Slaughter calls it the Slaughter Cannon. So he hits him with the Slaughter Cannon. Uh, Iron Sheik's, that famous boot with, his boots with the curve at the end. Sergeant Slaughter picks up the boot, hits him in the throat, and pins him. A couple months earlier, I had seen them fight at Nassau Coliseum. Great match, but I believe, I think Iron Sheik won that match on a count out. And of course, as the face, Sergeant Slaughter took most of the punishment in that match, which disappointed me, but whatever. Still, I got to see them fight, which is very cool. Another time, I got to see Andre fight Andre the Giant. Oh my God. Talk about a wholesale slaughter. Poor Sheik. He basically jobbed. Not only did he job for him, but he got the living shit kicked out of him that night. I don't think he got any offense. Oh, terrible, terrible. Poor Iron Sheik. I actually felt bad for him that night, having a 450-pound man stand on your back. Uh, that can't be pleasant. But in any event, they always say that it takes a good heel to make a good face, to make a good match. Sergeant Slaughter couldn't have done it by himself without having a good villain opponent, such as the Iron Sheik. All those matches that he had as a tag team partner with Nikolai Volkov, those are very convincing. They were both in, WrestleMania 3, where I think they fought the Killer Bees, was it? Uh, Good match until Hacksaw Jim Duggan came out and interfered in the match and caused a disqualification, hitting the Iron Sheik with a 2x4. So anyway, I've digressed too much. I got a lot of other stuff to talk about, but that being said, rest in peace, Iron Sheik. Very deservedly so in the Hall of Fame. You were a great one. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Uh, so some thoughts that other random thoughts. So why is it that certain champions get to defend their title only once every 2-3 months, while other champions defend every week on TV? I'm talking for A&E, for example. Uh, you got MJF, who defends, comes out, talks a big game, and what does he do? Then he wrestles, once every month or two, or every 2-3 months, in a pay-per-view. Meanwhile, you have Orange Cassidy, who's what they call the AEW International Champion. I guess that's the counterpart of the Intercontinental Champion of WWE. We're actually going to talk about that in a little while as well. But Orange Cassidy, and I like him. He's a workhorse, but give this guy a break. Don't have him defend the title every week. Give that belt a little more prestige. Make MGF work for his money a little more often. And then WWE, Roman Reigns, they're sitting there pontificating. Uh, Triple H, 1,000-day champion. A 1,000-day champion who never fucking won it on his own once. He's got an entourage, cheating, causing outside interference. Solo Sikoa, the Usos, even Paul Heyman, who, Roman Reigns couldn't have done it all by himself. Probably the best thing they ever did was partner him up with Paul Heyman to be his mouthpiece. 1,000-day champion. Meanwhile, now they call it the undisputed champion, but how could it be undisputed if you created another belt and put it on Seth Rollins, who I think is a very deserving champion, and he's going to be a fighting champion who defended it Monday night against Damian Priest. Great match, but Seth Rollins retained. You're going to make him a workhorse, you're going to burn him out, just like AEW is going to burn out Orange Cassidy. But we'll get back to AEW. So before I came on, I watched the first half of AEW, and MJF came out pontificating what a great champion he is. What does he do? Oh, there's nobody back there who's worthy of fighting me. So Adam Cole's music hits. He comes out. They start talking. For the first 5 or 10 minutes, MJF's dominating the mic, and I'm like, oh no. Give Adam Cole his equal time, otherwise this is going to go over like a lead balloon. So finally, he asked for a mic. He started talking. Had a great promo, probably about as good as MJF's, and we got our next championship bout. MJF Adam Cole, baby. Looking forward to it. Uh, Next thing, Pat McAfee making the dumb comment that the last AEW pay-per-view was 3/4 of the building was empty. First of all, I don't believe that. Second of all, why would you wish for their demise? I mean, I've criticized AEW in the past. I think that they can book things a little bit better. I'm starting to see some improvements. Uh, and I'm going to talk about a new show, Saturday show that they have coming up, which should hopefully improve that a bit. But why would you want to see their demise? Somebody on Facebook commented, and I agree with him 1,000%. Um, WWE sucked until AEW became a thing. Uh, Competition creates better quality. Um, WWE is watchable again. Uh, I thought this Raw this past Monday night was one of the better Raws I've seen in a long time. You know, between the match with Gunther versus Kevin Owens and the match between Seth Rollins and Damian Priest. Great freaking matches. Good job. So, Pat McAfee, dummy. Next thing, AEW. So, Tony Khan announced a few weeks ago that AEW would have a new Saturday show called Collision. All right. Finally, more TV time to showcase your very deep roster that you're underutilizing. All right, I'm back. Took a quick break. AEW Collision, very deep roster. I'm not sure. I don't know if they said it's going to be an hour format or a 2 hour format, but nonetheless, they're finally bringing CM Punk back. I know even I was a little critical of CM Punk, but some things he said that maybe he shouldn't have said, that maybe he should have just said, in the locker room to certain people, not embarrass his boss, Tony Khan. But I guess from what I hear, they've all made nice, which is a good thing. And Tony Khan said himself that, he's a very important part of our roster. And you know what? The guy sells tickets. You got every person in the arena standing when this guy enters the arena to the song Cult of Personality. It says something about him. And the fact that he came in and he wanted to work with and try to elevate some of the younger talent, you know, sounds like he really does give a damn about the product and wants to make it better. So I welcome him back. I'm also happy to see that looks like Miro's going to be coming back. I also just saw that not only will he be back, he's actually going to be back and he's going to be in a 6-man tag. It's going to be, and this is Saturday, June 17th. So it's going to be CM Punk and FTR against Juice Robinson, Jay White, and Samoa Joe. Should be a good one. See what happens. Um, Back to WWE news. You had this match. So they put the tag team titles on Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Uh, was that really necessary? I mean, God damn it, didn't you put the title on Ronda Rousey enough times? I mean, if you really wanted Shayna Baszler to have a title, you could have given her one of the other two, uh, SmackDown title or the WWE title. I mean, do we really need to see Asuka as champion again? I don't even know who the SmackDown champion is right now. Um, Gotta look. Rhea Ripley. That's it. Rhea Ripley is currently the SmackDown champ. Asuka's currently the Raw champ, although they may do a brand switch. Who knows? You never know. Who can keep track of their, switching superstars on brands, which I think is freaking stupid. I hope AEW doesn't do that. That they switch them on the shows at their convenience, basically. Dumb, really dumb. So, in any event, so Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, they got challenged by this new tag team from NXT, uh, Caden Carter and Katana Chance. Uh, Basically, two gymnasts turned wrestlers. I mean, they, I got to give them credit because Ronda Rousey sucks as a wrestler. She's like, to me, she's like a Brock Lesnar of the women's division. Uh, Shayna Baszler, I mean, I guess she's okay, but when she's not stomping on elbows to break people's arms and pretend to be a tough girl, uh, then Caden Carter and Katana Chance, they made it a good match. I think they carried the match, but of course Ronda and Shayna retained. But who knows? Hopefully, we'll see more of Caden and Katana, and I'd love to see them take that belt off of those two undeserving champions. Uh, Speaking of undeserving champions, uh, you know, I'm not going to sit here and really denigrate uh, TNT champion of AEW, Jade Cargill, but come on, 60-0. Did you really have to carry it out that long? Now, rumor had it that they kept the belt on her so to give Chris Statlander a chance to recover. She finally did. And in the last pay per view, they did an open challenge. She came out, she beat Jade Cargill. So now Chris Statlander is now the new TNT champion. Um, I don't know. Do you think maybe it would have been better you just let her win 20, 30 matches, take the belt off of her, have her go to Japan or some other territory to improve her skills, and then she could be back on her second run and, be kicking some ass and taking names. But you first have to do that with her now. I'm sure we'll see her again soon. We don't know when. Uh, was it Bret the Hitman Hart who said that he didn't care for the Blackpool Combat Club, and in particular, not Dean Ambrose, but John Moxley, uh, taking forks and sticking in people's forehead to draw blood every match, or the fact that he's always drawing his own blood. Stupid. Uh, Tonight, they 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 fixed that a little bit. They actually had them fight 6-man tag team match with Best Friends and some other guy I don't know, but let me tell you, they really took it to Blackpool Combat Club. It was a great match. Blackpool Combat Club won, but at least they took some. They were on the defensive for a change, and John Moxley got his butt kicked in a winning effort. So that was nice to see. So back to talking about the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Uh, for a while there, it almost became like the Invisible or Ghost Championship because they weren't featuring it on pay-per-views, and there was no prestige to it. Now they put it on this guy named Gunther of Imperium, this German gimmick of his, but I got to tell you, he impresses me. He's good, solid wrestler. And you know what? He and Kevin Owens took the house down. Great, great match. Really kick-ass match. I am very impressed with this guy. You got to build this guy up and maybe have him take the belt off of Kevin Owens no, not Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns at some point. I think that would be a good thing. I would not be surprised if they're going to put him up against Seth Rollins at some point. Of course, he needed outside help to beat Kevin Owens, but you know what? You got to keep Kevin KO's heat going by not having him lose cleanly. So, but great, great match. Lastly, On the other episode, with Superstar Billy Graham, I talked about some of the programming on Peacock. It's actually worth it. You get all these monthly pay-per-views that you're already paying, what's it, $7.99 or $9.99 a month. Uh, you get the cheap one, you got to deal with commercials, but whatever. It's you know what? You get all the pay-per-views. You got a lot of great old content. You have all these greatest WrestleMania moments, and you got episodes about all the different superstars. I just watched one about superstar Billy Graham. Watched one about Bruno. I'm sure they have one about the Iron Sheik. One's floating out there. I saw one on YouTube. Very, very, my heart breaks for the Iron Sheik. He lost his daughter, and as a father, that breaks my heart. So that really kind of warmed my heart to the Iron Sheik to be able to endure that, carry on. Rest in peace, brother. Yeah. So, lastly, WWE Old School. Check it out. This is basically wrestling in its heyday, the way it used to be before. Uh, Vince Jr. broke the unwritten code and started invading all different territories and taking wrestling first nationwide, then he took it worldwide and basically put all these territories out of business. So that's why you have to cheer for AEW, to give them some competition and give some of these really credible wrestlers a place to showcase their skills. Um, but going back to old school, it's some of the old cards back in the 70s. You know, if you watch the regular syndicated show on Channel 9 or in the Philadelphia local channel, it was basically an hour of heels beating up jobbers. That's all it was to showcase these heels to to get them ready to face Bruno Sammartino for the championship. Um, but then you had these great cards, uh, before the pay-per-views, these monthly cards at Madison Square Garden or Boston Garden or Philadelphia Spectrum. They would be the equivalent of the pay-per-views of today. And you would see all the great matches. Uh, what did I just watch? I watched from 1983, was it? Bob Backlund against Ivan Koloff. Great match. I saw Jimmy Snuka against superstar Billy Graham. Uh, uh, Snuka won that one. I even saw Andre the Giant against um, Big John Studd for the first time. That was a great match until what the heck's his name? Studd turned turned yellow and hightailed it back to the dressing room and got counted out. If I were there that night, I would have been pissed. Fortunately, I did see them fight each other at Nassau Coliseum, and Andre did slam him and did pin him. So at least I got my money's worth. So check it out. WWE Old School. Some, uh, you know, Bruno wasn't, I don't think he was a great wrestler, but you know what? He had the charisma. He was an Italian strongman. He had a big fan following. He sold out the building a lot. Then Superstar Graham sold out the building, had some great matches. You could see them in Old School. One of my favorites was his match against Ivan Putski. Then another match against Dusty Rhodes. Bob Backlund's matches, I think it was more to showcase the incoming heels, but what are you going to do? And then, of course, in the early 80s, once Hulk Hogan became champ, it started to get exciting again. So check it out. That's my shtick. I'm sticking to it. This is Jack Toledano. One last thing. I just want to say thank you to everybody who wish me a happy birthday on Facebook. I do appreciate it. Another year, spinning around this on this rock, third rock from the sun. Uh, Next year, I hit a milestone birthday, but at that time, you'll know what it is. But one of my birthday presents. Ho ho! To the moon, Alice. It pays to buy the best. I'm going to watch this, and there will be an episode in the future. So I don't know how soon I can put it together, but stay tuned. Coming up. Damn, hiccups really suck tonight. This is Jack Toledano speaking for All and Out according to Jack. Have a good one, folks. Be well, and don't let that wildfire get you down. Stay safe, everybody. Bye.